Hello everyone, my name is OtisZijie Zhou. I'm a digital media arts student. Today I'm going to talk about traditional advertisement and new digital environment in China. Firstly, I want to talk about what's the relationship between advertisement and new digital environment in China. Secondly, I want to talk about what impact of digitalization on traditional advertising. Then I will show some research that what is happening in China's advertising industry in new digital environment. After that, I want to show some interview about discussing some key questions. Finally, I will do a short in conclusion. First part, the internet has changed the business world and has also profoundly affected every aspect of the marketing ecosystem. On this chain, the front end is the consumer, the back end is the advertising company, and the middle is the media. However, there is usually an important rule in the linkage of the three parties. It's an organization that provides marketing and communication related service, such as public relations and advertising. For example, the 4A agencies. The industry used to call the agency. Next part, I want to talk what the impact of digitalization on traditional advertising. I think the impact of digitalization on traditional advertising is multidimensional. The first is the form of display. Traditional advertising is mainly printed, and digital form are emerging. Many traditional advertisements can exist in form of electronic display screens. With more flexible presentation methods, more ideas can be implemented. Secondly, in the customer base, the significance of advertising is widely advertised. If it fails to achieve the function of advertising, the value will shrink. The mass transfer of customers to mobile phones and PCs has a great impact on traditional advertising. Then there is a pattern from the business mode to the survey mode will change. As the digital environment changes, traditional advertising will inevitably face transformation. Let's move to research part. As we can see, in the figure, we can see Chinese advertising industry is increased very fast, thanks to the rising of demands of customers. Unlike many Western and other countries of the world, television is not the biggest source of advertisement in China. Another report by eMaker. Mobile is becoming the leading advertising spending channel in China. By 2021, almost 60% of total media advertising expenditures and 82% of digital advertising spending will be dedicated to mobile. From another data by GB Times, it shows digital advertising spending in China increased by 27% in 2017, reaching $50 billion and representing nearly 60% of paid media spending. After I introduce some what's happening in China's advertising market in digital environment, I want to show some interview by Tianxin. Tianxin is the account director of Focus Media. Focus Media is one of the largest agencies in China. First key question I discussed with Tianxin about what do you think do traditional agencies still have a future in China?
That's a very, very big question. Of course, a traditional agency, new agency, any kind of agency. If you are good, you will have a future anywhere. Not just in China, everywhere in the world.
Another important record we discussed about there is a lot of change going to in this marketplace, advertising market. The prominent one is the digital environment. Agency didn't have to face maybe a few years ago.
A lot of challenges, yes. In fact, it's not just now. It's throughout the history of advertising agencies and their services. They have been challenges at different eras. So right now, I think the challenge is from the client side in a digital environment. It's swimming from in the past, which is like very conservative, and they only believe in a certain kind of model of advertising, and then they stuck with it for like decades. And now they want the different other way, probably too much anything that is new different, newer is better, and then the clients are, actually very scattered in terms of, this is new, I want to get onto it, I want to get into user-generated content, social media. I think that, in fact, I hear a lot of people saying that the traditional advertising model is dead. Well, thankful it hasn't. In fact, it is going through an evolution process, survival of the fittest. Of course, if you are good and if you are competitive, then you will survive. I think the biggest issue right now is facing us right now is the competition in terms of pricing. When it is free, basically you don't have the right people working on it, qualified people. The quality actually being to deteriorate. We are seeing that. For the small agency and the non-traditional agency, especially digital, social media, and so on, there was a general act on major traditional advertising agency model. Now digital agencies are saying they are declining traditional agency so that they will have a future, but the problem is right now both kind of agency exist. New digital agencies are facing a lot of competition in price competition. Traditional agencies are facing competition in terms of client not really know what to do. I think what traditional agencies need to do is to really go back to their roots, looking at brand building and coming up with the high quality strategies, customer insight, understanding the market, and coming up with the creative content idea that drives the business. Then welcome all of other kinds of agencies and working together. Any of my clients, they really have an average of 7 advertising agent relationships at the same time. So there is actually a big room for us. Traditional big agents control the strategy. They are the brand custodian and they create the main idea and they correlate with all the other new digital social agents. If social media is popular nowadays and consumers are consuming it, fine. Traditional agencies work with the social media agency. Now, digital agency cannot replace traditional agencies. Traditional agencies cannot replace new digital agents either. This is a sort of, ecology that I'm seeing evolving too.
It's the final part of my presentation. I want to do a short in conclusion. With the drastic changes in the market spending habits and the media environment, especially the rise of digital media, the division of labor in the marketing and advertising industry has become more refined, and a number of independent digital marketing agency companies driven by technology and data have emerged. At the same time, the top-ranking marketing communication groups in the world has accelerated their distribution in digital marketing in the past 2 years, mainly through acquisition to enhance their digital marketing capabilities in order to compete with Google, Facebook, and other internet giants. The digital revolution has impacted the traditional advertising marketing companies to a central extent. But in the long run, large-scale integrated marketing communication groups with creative, capital, and customer advantage still have advantage in the wave of marketing digitalization, provided that these giants can review the situation and make the right judgment. Thank you.